change of gear. So between you and lunch will be at 1:30, is going to be first of all, a presentation and then a discussion on business and law, because one of the elephants in the room is the law. There are a few lawyers in this room, but how does it frame the business environment? What do you need to know? What do you need to avoid? So we're going to introduce this panel with a presentation from a chartered trademark attorney and director at HGF Limited. She is Adjoa Amin. Now, Adjoa helps businesses protect and leverage their brands and innovative ideas. She's had great experience across the UK and beyond. She's an intellectual property expert in residence at Imperial Enterprise Lab and a trustee for a non-profit supporting black female entrepreneurs. Let me welcome to the stage a fantastic chartered trademark attorney, Adjoa Amin. Adjoa, is there no video of you?
No.
Oh, well, this will have to deal with 3 dimensions here. Thank you. Yes, okay.
Thank you, everyone, for having me today. You all look beautiful. So I think over the next 10 minutes,
Yes.
I'm going to skip briefly through IP. And if you have any questions, we'll have a quick chat. Or if you can catch me in the break, that would be great as well. So I'm a UK chartered trademark attorney. I help clients, in a sentence, select, protect, exploit, and enforce their brands. I work in the area of intellectual property, and I'll go through what my job entails, but I wanted to go through an overview of what I'm going to talk about over the next few minutes. We're going to briefly look at what IP is. I'm going to focus on trademarks because that's my area of expertise. And then we're going to look at considerations for seeking protection, for brand protection, the registration process itself in the UK, and then we're going to look at post-registration things to keep in mind as well. So first of all, what is intellectual property? There are various types of IP. You've got trademarks, which are signs which kind of show the goods and services provided by one business and distinguishes them from those of others. You've got copyrights, which cover artistic works like the clothes and the jewelry outside that are being beautifully exhibited and sold, so please buy some. We've got designs that protect aesthetics of things, you know, like your mouse pad and the texture of various things, beautiful things in the world. You've got patents that protect how things work, how things are made, the processes of making certain things and inventions. And then you've got trade secrets, which are things that are protected by the law of confidentiality. And that's where NDAs come into play. So because my bread and butter is trademarks, that's what I'm going to focus on today. And Carlton did say that it's something that comes up in our masterclasses throughout the year. So what's a trademark? As I said earlier, it's something that distinguishes the goods and services provided by one business from those of another. There are various types of trademarks. You can protect signs, you can protect words, logos, even scents, shapes, and they give protection in terms of it's an exclusive right, but with limitations. So when you file your application, you're protecting specific goods and services. So it's subject to what you have protected and also to the geographical area that you have protected. But also, it gives you the right to stop third parties from using marks that are identical or similar to what you have protected, and their use in relation to identical or similar goods. But also, if you're able to show that you have reputation in that mark, so much so that you can stop third parties that are unauthorized from using goods and services that are even dissimilar to what you provide, then even better. Now, I thought it would be good to compare it to unregistered rights because I know many of you will be running businesses that don't have trademarks. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have any protection when it comes to stopping third parties using or registering marks that are similar or identical to yours. The issue there is it takes more effort, it takes more time, it's more expensive to enforce your rights. So sometimes it's easier to invest that money, actually in most instances, it's easier to invest the money in your registration and then wave that paper in front of someone if they come knocking. And I wanted to also run through some of the benefits of the registration process, apart from having just your trademark to enforce your rights. The pre-registration searches themselves are good because it gives you, I'm going to go back a bit. Thank you. It gives you an idea of what else might be on the register. So especially when you're pre-launch, you've got a brand that you have in mind. You do searches on the relevant UK trademark register or the EU if you're going even further afield. And if there's a mark that it may be an issue, maybe an obstacle to your use and registration, at least then you can pivot and look at some other options for a brand. Rather than go into launch, you've got everything on Insta, you've printed all your packaging, and you're like 1 week in, and you get a letter from someone. That's always more difficult to deal with than when you rebrand in the early stages of your business. Once a registration process is complete, you have a registered trademark. It's an asset that adds value to your business. You can use it to license your trademark, so you give people permission to use your trademark, and you can earn royalties during that agreement. You also need to make sure you have brand guidelines so people know how to use your mark and within what restrictions they can operate. Also, having the property as having a business property means that you can use it as collateral to take loans against your business. And also it adds a level of credibility to the business. You know, you've come correct. You've got, I think Yolanda was talking about the domain name. Most businesses are like, I've registered it at a company's house, I've got the domain name. Have you got the trademark? No. But the thing is, if you don't have the trademark, even if someone sets up a domain name that's similar to yours, unless you have the trademark, you're going to have a much more difficult time taking that domain name down. So it's always about the trademark for us, and from my perspective. It's great to get the domain name. It's great to register the company, but it's always really important to get the trademark because that's what's going to help you take action against unauthorized users. So let's say you're sold, you're like, right, I want a trademark. Tell me what I need to do. I think there's some of the questions these are some of the questions that I ask my clients when they come to me about this. The first thing is, what mark do you actually want to protect? And I also ask, what goods and services do you want to sell? How are you going to make money off this brand? And where will your business operate geographically? I know that because of the internet, technically speaking, there are no boundaries, but in terms of trademarks, there are. So you might operate in the UK, you might sell into the US, then you need to think about getting registered protection in the US. And also, like I said, in relation to trademark searches, you need to find out whether the mark is free to use. Because it's always well and good going in guns blazing, not knowing what else is on the register and who might take action against you. And then also you consider future plans like, have I already started using the mark, or will I be launching in the next month or next 6 months? What's my budget like? You know, then we can look at, are we filing protection in the UK now? And then kind of staggering out the process for other territories, and also what future plans you may have. And the registration process is fairly straightforward in the UK. So with the information we have that I've just talked about in the previous slide, we usually prepare like a strategy to help you implement the brand protection aims that the business has. We prepare the application with the sign details, the trademark details, the goods and services that you wish to protect, and your applicant details. The registry reviews the application to see if there are any issues. All being well, the registry accepts the application. If there were any issues, they raise an objection. Then we try to work with you to try and overcome those issues. All being well, again, it's accepted. And then there's a 2-month period. It's like a beauty parade where they're kind of saying, look, this entity is trying to protect this trademark. Does anyone have a problem with it? And during that period, hopefully there are no issues. If there are any third parties that do have any problems, the hope is that within that 2-month period, you're able to sort it out between yourselves amicably, rather than someone raising a formal objection against you. So assuming there are no objections, then you get a registration certificate, which is great news. And most people go, right, I've got a registration certificate, I'm going to put it in my file. And that's it. But there are very many important things to keep in mind once you've got your registration certificates. Trademarks are something that can live on indefinitely. All you have to do is keep on renewing it every 10 years. So also the takeaway for your trademark registration is if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So that's why it's important for us to look at what you're doing at the time and also what you'll be doing in the near future when you're looking to file your application, because you don't want to protect everything, because if not, in a few years, someone might come and say, actually, you're not using the mark for those goods and services, so we're going to cancel it for those goods and services that you're not using. And it's not a good use of your money to do that. And in terms of enforcement, as I've already mentioned, you can use your registration to stop unauthorized third parties from using your brand for similar or identical goods and services. And if you have reputation, then you can even use it to stop dissimilar goods and services. You know, like Coca-Cola, no one's going to use Coca-Cola for anything. Even if you're a mechanic, no, you're not going to use that brand because they will come for you. And once you've got your trademark registration as well, it's always good to keep an eye on what's coming up behind you. So we have a trademark watching service that keeps an eye on trademark applications that are coming through the system. So if there are any that you think might be of interest to the business, you try and settle it amicably, or if they're getting shirty still, then you can at least lodge a formal objection. And if you have a trademark that relates to goods and you manufacture them and ship them across borders, or you sell them to companies and or clients in different territories, then you can look at something that we call a customs application for action. And that's where you provide the customs authorities with the details of your genuine products, what makes your products unique. So when customs see goods that come in that look like they may be your goods, they look for the markers that make it show that they're genuine, and then they let them through. If they think there's some that may be counterfeit, then they can hold them and then have you inspect them and then see what's next. If it's seizing it, destroying it, then we deal with those goods as well. And then also, as I said earlier, you can exploit your rights. You can license it to third parties, or if you want to sell it on, you can do so. I think I'm at time, aren't I?
You are. There's a big zero.
So
right
that's
there.
me done. And that's my QR code for my LinkedIn profile if anyone has any questions after today. So thank you.
Adjoa, that's great. Thank you very much. Please take a seat.